Hey guys, Terry here. I want to show you this stamp set that I recently purchased from Stamping Up. It's called Daffodil Daydream, and it comes with the stamps and the dies. There is a lot of dies in this set. It hardly fits inside the case here, but that's what fell out when I opened it. But I want to show you a card that I made with the dies. I didn't stamp anything. I just used the dies. So let me show you how I did it. I love the look of this. So I've got my Cuttlebug. I also have a Big Shot, but my Cuttlebug fits over here under the camera. And then I also want to show you, I don't know if you knew that 31 makes a new size tote. This was new to me. I got this at the expo from Abby that has Inspiration In. She's a 31 rep. But you probably have a 31 rep in your area. So I just wanted to let you know that they make this cute little, it looks just like the Great Big Tote, only it's a little one. And it is, let's see, it's 13 inches wide. And it fits the Cuttlebug perfectly. So I'm able to take my Cuttlebug on a crop and have my plates. And you know how heavy our Cuttlebugs are, so it works perfectly. So love that. But let's get back to the card. Let me pull some paper and then I'll show you how I cut the card. Okay, I've picked a light and a dark green and a light and a dark yellow. As you can see, I made the leaves be a couple different colors, and then the daffodils look really neat with the light yellow and then the dark. So let's make these. So I've got my Cuttlebug, and I'm probably going to need to trim my paper here. So if you haven't seen me with my dies before, I like to keep the dies with the set, and I put this magnetic sheet inside the case, and I will put that, I'll put a link to those magnetic sheets that I use. They're, I'm trying to remember what size they are. I think they're 5 by 7, and they fit perfectly inside the case, and they're sticky on the back. So I'm just lining up my dies here. And if you're going to conserve paper, then it's a really good idea to put down some tape that isn't super sticky. So if we do these real close together, you don't want to let these get overlapped in your Cuttlebug because it'll break the dies. So just hold them in place. Put on your top layer of your sandwich, and then do the crank. So some of you have the new electric cutters. I haven't switched to electric cutting yet. So there are those. So I think I'm going to run this through again and get about 8 of these stems. I don't know if I'll use them all. But that was the light green. Let's do some with the dark green. I just ripped that along my table edge. Didn't get my cutter out. I'm headed to a crop this weekend, so I think I'm going to take my scrapbooking stuff. I've printed some pictures, and my wonderful husband went to go get those for me. So I just need to pack paper that will go with those pictures. I printed Easter pictures, and I had done all the Christmas scrapbook layouts. So I've got Brittany's birthday and Easter, and Brenner got his first haircut, so I have that to do. Come out of that there, you. Let me get my tweezer. There we go. So I'm excited to get some scrapbooking done. I've been mostly card making lately, and I'm also working on a quilt. I think I've mentioned it. I'm working on a fancy forest quilt, and I've got 4 of the animals done. I think there's 2 more to do. So I will be making a video about that one soon. Okay, let's do the flowers. So we'll do the, maybe I'll do this. There we go. Let's do the petals of the flowers. It took me a little while to figure out these different petals. These 2 petals are going to go together like that. And then there is those 2 go like that, crisscross. And then there's one of these that goes on top. So that's what that looks like. That's the first one. So the petals are cut out of yellow, and then this one has so it looks like it's from the side, so it goes like that, and it came with 2 of these cups, so that cup goes on to make it look like a side view of the petal. And then there's also a bud, and the bud has, that might have been what fell on the floor. The bud, I'll have to find the bud. It has a solid piece, and then this is the top dark colored layer. I think that's what fell on the floor when I opened it up, so I'll dig for that. And then these 2 are the cup in the light color, and then the rest are in the dark. So again, you don't want them to overlap, because they'll crunch each other if they get too close. So just be careful of that. And you know what? I'm going to tape them down because it's just slippery enough. You'll regret it if they overlap and crunch each other, because I'd hate to have to buy the dies all over again just for one that broke. And I find that one pass cuts these good enough. If you find that your machine doesn't cut them through the paper all the way, maybe your cardstock's a little bit thicker, you might run it forward and back through your machine. So you can see mine came out really well. And don't be intimidated by this set having a lot of pieces, because once you've put it together, they go together pretty easily. Okay, so let's do the dark color. Okay. I think this set is still available with Stampin' Up. I don't sell Stampin' Up, but if you have a rep in your area, please use them. That way it gives them credit for the sale. Oh, here is the one for the bud. So let me cut that out of the yellow. Another tip I'll tell you is that when you've got these papers pulled and it's the colors that you like, leave the scraps inside your stamp case. And that way when you go to, or any extra cut pieces that you have, leave that inside your stamp set. The other thing I have in here is the page from the catalog where it gave examples. So that way when you pull out your stamp sets, you've got something to kind of get the ideas going. Okay. So let's assemble it now. And then the other thing is the stamp that came with it is, there's one that says Happy Mother's Day, and then the other one says Easter Blessings. So I think those are both common things that you would use the daffodil for. So I will stamp that on the front of on this one I used 110-pound weight cardstock that I got from Michael's. It's just a very nice sturdy cardstock. So I will cut this in half and fold it, and that will be my card front. And then we will stamp it. And then this black line I simply drew around, but I think I do have a rubbernecker. Let me try and find that. Yeah, this is made by Rubbernecker, and it is a stamp. It's a rubber stamp that stamps that design around the outside. So let's use that on our card. When I was making these cards, I wasn't near my stamps, so we'll use this and the Mother's Day, and then we'll assemble the flowers. So we'll be right back. So I like to use my Misty for stamping, and I love this VersaFine Black Onyx ink. This just gives such a crisp ink image. And then I also like to use my Score Pal. So this is a little one. I think this was We Are Memory Keepers. Martha Stewart has one. There's a lot of brands out there. So I'm scoring the card at 4 1/4. And when I cut the 8.5 by 11 paper in half, that made a standard A2 size card. So that makes the math easy. Just cut it in half, and you can fold it this way, or if you had cut it in half the other way, it could be a top folding card, like this one. So either way is fine. So let's put this in our Misty and stamp. Let's stamp the edge around it here. Now these are rubber stamps, so I need to take the mat out of my Misty. And I'm going to put the Rubbernecker stamp right here in the middle of my card. And I'll just hold it in place with one magnet. And I'm just looking around the edge to make sure it's fairly lined up. Yep, that's going to work. So now we'll just ink up the edge of this stamp. So you can see here. Just going around the edge. It's a very big stamp, and I want to wipe away that piece here in the middle, because I don't want to get that on my cardstock. So I'll just give that a wipe off. There we go. And let's stamp that. And I don't know if you've seen these new, I call it a hockey puck. It's an air hockey disc, whatever. I'll have links to it on my website too. I just remember it as a hockey puck. But it helps push down this stamp. Just gives you a little bit more pressure than what your fingers can do. So it's the Lazy Man's stamping tool. So love that. That turned out great. So let's take this off. I'll have to go wash it. And then let's put the Mother's Day, Happy Mother's Day down here in the corner. Mom, if you're watching this, you're probably going to see the video before your card gets to Florida. That looks good, so we'll let that dry. And let's assemble our flowers. So for the flowers, I'm going to use liquid glue. And I'll just do a shout out to my brother. He recently made me this glue stand on his new 3D printer. So it sounds like a fascinating tool. I might need to get a 3D printer. It looks pretty cool. Like I said, don't flip your pieces over till you're ready to glue them. And then they'll all match up on their corresponding pieces. And of course we did the light color with the solid piece, and then the more detailed piece we did in the dark. And I like to use liquid glue. I just put some pieces all around the edge there and then line it up. Liquid glue gives me time to kind of get it into position, and then just hold it for a second. This is the little bud. So this one is the little piece on the bottom. You can see this one is unique too. It's got the little bottom corner here. This piece, I just put glue on the middle here and put it behind here. Your tweezers can hold it in place till it dries. These two get layered together. Like I said, your tweezers can help it till it's dry. And then these pieces go right on top. I'm gluing just the bottom of it to put it right on side here. Isn't it pretty? I think you can turn this however you want to make it, kind of facing the sun. And then later when we go to put the stem on, we'll make sure that we're kind of making it face upwards. And then we have our bud. Now the bud, you can glue, it's got this little piece on the end, and I just glued on there and laid the stem on top of it. So notice there it's just glued onto the back of that. Let that dry. So let's put it on our card. And these are very tall, so they can go from the bottom of your card up to the top. I started with the grasses and then I did the bud. And if you need to, you can cut off some of the end here. Let me get my scissors. I'm going to cut off a little bit of the end here. Just because I didn't want the bud hanging off the card there. Okay, so now let's position these other two. Let's think about where we're going to place them. We'll do them like that. And then again, we can cut our stems for these flowers to be shorter. And then just glue these down. I don't think there's any wrong way to do the stems. They're just gathered near the bottom here. Like I said, I don't think there's any wrong way to do it. But aren't they adorable? All made with dies. And then I just like the edge around the outside just to add a little something. You could do it on, you could have pattern paper out here and do this on a white piece and layer it on top. But I really like the look of it on the, just on the craft colored paper. So that's what I wanted to show you, was this stamp set. Again, it's called Daffodil Daydream, and it's got the Happy Mother's Day stamp on it, and it's available from Stampin' Up. I also, on this one, I don't know if you can tell, but I had stamped just with Versamark, just to put some dots across it in the background. I forgot to do that on this one, but the dots add a little bit of something. So, well, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a fabulous Mother's Day yourself. And I will talk to you guys soon. If you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out. And I will talk to you later. Thanks, guys.